Try and look for the inside, but it was closed off. There was absolutely no way through there.
He's a determined driver. He'll be trying everything he possibly can.
This is where the excitement's at. This has been really intense.
And this is a really spicy battle.
It's still absolutely neck and neck. Right, so swapping paint between the two of them.
Well, hello everyone and welcome to the final race meeting for this, the Porsche Esports Sprint Challenge Great Britain. My name is Conrad Maddock, and as always, I'm joined by the ever wonderful Paul Smith for our final two races of this 2024 season. I'm certainly hyped for it. I hope you are too at home. And Paul, what better stage to have our final two races than at Brands Hatch?
Yeah, it's a venue that Porsche enthusiasts know very well indeed. Many a series finished their season here at Brands Hatch, and course, it's seen some fantastic moments over the years. We will decide champions here today, but I think for me, the AM Championship for the podium spots is going to be a thrill ride.
Yeah, absolutely. It's all about the prize-paying positions, those top 3 spots in each championship. But we'll dive more into that in just a moment. Well, actually, right now, let's just do it. As well, here's a recap of the events. So if you haven't been joining us over the course of the season, 1, where have you been? But 2, better late than never. First up, they've got themselves lone qualifying, so they get their 2 flying laps. They'll have 10 minutes to be able to do that. All alone out there on circuit, not an opening qualifying session. Then we'll head into our first race, which is 30 minutes long. Then we'll go straight into our second event as well. No reverse grids here. Race 2 grid is just based on the results from race 1. The cars will be forced to use a fixed setup, and there will be standing starts despite the multi-class nature. Speaking of the classes, we'll have 2. Pro, they're going to be in the Porsche GT3 Cup cars, and then in the AM category, they are in the Porsche Cayman GT4 Club Sport MRs. But this is the important thing that we're going to be talking about today. It's the prizes. The top 3 drivers from each class will win a half-day driving experience at the Porsche Experience Center, Silverstone. Believe me, it's an absolutely fantastic experience. If you ever do get the opportunity to go, then you'll definitely enjoy it. And I'm sure these drivers will enjoy it. The pro drivers will get to do that experience in a 911, and the AM drivers will get to do that in the Cayman as well, reflecting as close as possible the cars that they use in this series. In terms of championships, though, Matt Caruana has a healthy advantage over Jack Jeffries coming into this race meeting. He can actually seal the championship on the first race here. Will Eatwell in 3rd place with George Tyler in 4th. Luke Andrews in 5th there, just 2 points behind George Tyler. Then in the AM category, you've got Aidan Carter walking away with things at the front of GT4s. He's in a similar situation to Caruana. And then you've got Mike Pierce there in 2nd place, Alistair Pollock in 3rd, Adam Greason 4th, Chris Chard in 5th, all within a shout at finishing somewhere inside of that top 3. So that's going to be one of the main things that we'll be looking at today, is who gets themselves into the top 3 in that AM class, because there's a choice of drivers there that, given a good performance today, could be going to that experience day at Silverstone in the not too distant future. But that's the look at the 2 championships that we have here today. Drivers are already out there and getting their qualifying efforts underway here, Paul. It's such a shame that like this is the last time, at least this year, that we're going to be doing this, because it's been a bunch of fun.
It's been an absolute thrill ride as this one. Chris Zaruta to the head of pro qualifying as we speak right now. Yeah, the time's coming in thick and fast, but yeah, it's the final one of the season. It's not my final Porsche broadcast, of course. That's coming on Saturday, but it's the final Porsche GB broadcast of the season. It should be an absolute thrill ride around here. The undulations of this magnificent Brands Hatch Grand Prix layout, of course, a little bit longer than the Indy layout, 3.7 kilometers, and some of the most famous corners in all of British motorsport.
Absolutely, and well, it starts off with a pretty big one as well, Paddock Hill Bend, and then you descend down the hill into the braking zone of Druids. Such a fantastic sequence of corners, and then of course eventually you get towards this middle sector where these fast right-handers just come up on you one after the other. In addition to the elevation changes, the hills, the crests, it makes for a very, very fun circuit to drive indeed. We're currently watching Mike Pierce, though, coming towards the end of one of his laps in the number 28 car. Currently 3rd place in the AM category in qualifying as he heads his way out of the final corner now across that start-finish straight. What's the lap time going to be for Mike Pierce? It's a 1:30.087. That's not good enough for any sort of improvement. Remains in on the 2nd row of the starting grid for AM.
Well, it's good news for Adam Greason, who coming into this week is in 4th place, 4 points behind Alistair Pollock. Well, if he stays there in pole position, that's 2 points for his championship So that will mean that it'll only be 2 points separating third and fourth, and 1 point separating second and third. AM is just going to be a case of we're going to need all fingers and thumbs and toes and an abacus and everything like that to be able to work out who's getting where in the championship.
Abandoned lap there from Aiden Carter too, so that has shaken things up in terms of the pole position fight, because it's not going to be Aiden Carter, because that was his last lap. He abandons it. Adam Graveson, provisional pole there. Ben Smith hasn't set a lap in Pro just yet, so waiting for his lap times to try to come through at this stage. But yeah, that little mistake there on the flying lap for Aiden Carter has just added a little bit more intrigue to that AM category, as if we didn't need more, like you just said.
Yeah, absolutely. And Matt Caruana, continuing his bad luck from Alton Park, it seems, 7th on the grid. Interested to see what he can do.
Look at the advantage between Ed Hope and Will Eatwell.
Yeah, it's a single thousandth of a second between Hope and Eatwell. So, yeah, it's absolutely neck and neck up at the front of the qualifying standings. Matt Caruana, it's a very simple job for him, and it's been made a little bit easier for him with Jack Jeffries not being able to get onto pole position. Because, of course, pole position gives you 2 points. Caruana just needs to sit behind Jeffries, and he's pretty much securing his championship. That one is Matt. Aiden Carter, pending any dramatic things that happen that ends up getting him massive penalties, he's pretty much sewn up that AM championship. But we're going to see a couple of cracking races coming up here today.
Yeah, absolutely. It seems like pretty much everyone is done in terms of the qualifying for this evening. So we'll just have to wait for that clock to run down before we get ourselves the official starting grid for race number 1 today. If you're curious about the weather, we have had some weather-affected races over the course of this season. However, this one, at least for the first race, is going to remain dry, partly cloudy, 29 degrees Celsius on the track temperature there. Winds from the southeast at about 17-18 kilometers an hour as well. So a relatively nice day here at Brands Hatch to go racing. But of course, that could all change for race number 2. We will just have to wait and see. But currently, and well, it is going to be Edward Hope on pole position in the pro category by 1 single thousandth of a second there. It's so close, and it's only 56 thousandths back to James Armstrong. There's Matt Caruana looking to try and seal the pro championship here in this first race. Should be a relatively easy thing for him to do. Just really getting to the checkered flag would pretty much do it for him. But either way, I mean, he's kind of has been sort of quote unquote forced to be here, because he didn't seal it up last race, did he?
No, he didn't, and he was getting a bit excited at times throughout those races last week. But who could blame him? Alton Park, it was a fantastic race, but we're getting ourselves set for the start of this first race of the evening.
Indeed, as we transition over into the race session, this is going to be our starting grid for our penultimate race of the season. It's Ed Hope on pole position there by 1 single thousandth of a second back to Will Eatwell. Then on the second row, you got James Armstrong and Christian Saruta. Then Jack Jeffries there in 5th place with Dave Martin starting 6th. Championship leader Matt Caruana starts in 7th with Luke Andrews in 8th. Then you've got George Tyler, Ben Smith and Ben Cooper rounding out the 11-car pro starting grid. And then down in the AM category, it's Adam Graveson taking pole position there with Aiden Carter, championship leader, on the front row. Then second row is Mike Pierce and Wayne Basson. Then 5th and 6th, you've got Alistair Pollock and our previous race winner, Cav Budd. Then you've got Denise Pope in 7th place, Stuart Rice 8th, Carl Chase 9th, and Roy Weller rounding out the 10-car order in the AM category. So drivers getting themselves ready now. Pole position isn't necessarily the best place to be here at Brands Hatch due to the undulating nature of the circuit. So we'll see how the drivers are able to apply the power inside the first couple of rows of that starting grid, because if Will Eatwell can get a good launch here, he might be clear on the way down in towards turn number 1. Will Edward Hope have anything to try to fight him? But as we wait for that clock to tick down now, you see the AMs getting themselves prepared in the background. We're about to go racing for our second to last time here in the Porsche Esports Sprint Challenge. Great Britain, we're ready to go here at Brands Hatch as those engine notes will rise.
Green.
Green flag shown. Good start from Will Eatwell from second place, but the second stage acceleration doesn't go well. Here comes Christian Sarutas. There's been a big incident at the front of the pro order in towards Paddock Hill Bend for the first time. That's Saruta around, just continuing on his trend of bad starts. James Armstrong is also involved in that one, of course, and then we've got our AM start further behind here as well. Adam Graveson still leading in that instance, although he's got caught up in a bit of pro traffic after that incident, and there's a couple of drivers actually trying to head their way back through. Dave Martin actually has had a poor
So here we are then, down Pilgrim's Drop, first time. Here to have lost Connery there momentarily. But it's Aidan Carter moving in front of Adam Greaveson, who has gone off. He's showing his yellow flags in that sector 2, and there he is in the background of shot. Adam Greaveson, oh my goodness. He's now had drama, and of course this is going to be a big thing in terms of the AM Championship as well. Greaveson was trying to get into that top 3, but he's not looking like he's going to do so now. We've got more drama on this lap. Zaruta's had more issues, and he's taken a tour back to pit road. Well, it was Armstrong and Zaruta at the start of the race who had a big issue, and we've got more drama at Clark Curve. I can tell you, yellow flags for Denise Pub and Stuart Rice as well. My goodness, it's all kicking off here, Connery.
A couple of bits of drama in the very early stages. We'll see what happens. Armstrong and Saruta on the way down in towards Paddock Hill Bend. It was Saruta with the very good start, trying to find a line down in towards turn number 1. There's Armstrong on the inside there, and just one contact leads to the second as Saruta moved across. Secondary contact was unavoidable, and they both hit the barriers on the outside of the circuit there. That's what happened to Adam Graveson as he goes backwards into the tyre wall.
Yeah, that was just down the inside, getting pinched up just a little bit. Not saying anybody particularly at fault. And don't forget, cold tyres as well is going to be a matter of things happening here in these early stages of this race. And then there's Zaruta's car off to the side as we look forward to Denise Pub into Clark Curve. Contact from the inside. On Cav Bud, I believe it was, and well, 3 cars into one just does not go.
Absolutely not. So a couple of casualties in the early stages of our penultimate race here at Silverstone. Look at this gaggle of cars on the way in towards the final corner, involving Stuart Rice, of course, pointed in the wrong direction. The bright purple number 42 car. Careful with the rejoin there, but there's no one immediately on the scene there. As we look back towards the front of Pro, because look at them, they're all stacked together, and guess who? It's Matt Caruana all the way up into 3rd place already from 7th.
Yeah, 4 places gained. It's just a little bit here. But Will Eatwell, we saw how he was able to match Matt last week and able to get a race win. So Eatwell has shown that he can get one over Matt Caruana. Caruana right now has just got a very easy job right now. Finish the race. That's all he needs to do. Finish the race, get points. That's going to be his championship pretty much. But he's a racer. He won't be happy at starting in 7th place, having a mistake in qualifying. He'll want to win, but tell you what, Edward Hope, what a charge it's been the second half of the season. He's shown glimpses of it, hasn't he?
Yeah, absolutely. He's been putting in some incredible performances, and sometimes has found himself on the bad end of a couple of incidents. Yes, but overall, when he's had his clear air and been able to sort of work on the lap times himself, he's been very, very strong indeed. Meanwhile, further back through the field, Luke Andrews back to all the way to the inside of the circuit, going for the move on Jack Jeffries. In fact, and you can see that he might have overshot it a little bit. No, just about is able to come back across and defend the inside for Druids as George Tyler sticks his nose down the inside of Jeffries there. It's really hard to defend around the outside of Druids there, but if you can, you get the inside for Graham Hill Bend, which can work out, but it hasn't quite for Jack Jeffries as he overcooks it down into there. Tyler able to get the inside in towards Surtees now, but again, sliding up across the nose, too much speed in, as these guys will keep themselves close together. Ben Smith arriving on scene 2.
Yeah, and it's that run through Surtees is important. Get through, down Pilgrim's Draw, into Hawthorne. You carry a lot of speed through this right-hander, and look at that, round the outside. Thank you very much, Jack Jeffries. It forced George Tyler to go in tight, and that can allow you to just squeeze them in, slow them down through there, and Tyler loses out in that one, but it's absolutely neck and neck. The problem for Jeffries is, I think he's resigned to not having a chance of winning the Pro Championship, but he's in the thick of it right now.
Yeah, that's definitely one phrase for it. As we look back from the Porsche of Jack Jeffries at the string of cars lined up behind him, as Tyler a bit cautious into Paddock Hill Bend. There was a bit of a commitment there from Smith, almost running into the back of him as they get line astern up in towards Druids. Oh, big instant, Roy Weller. In a very fast portion of the circuit, having a seemingly pretty big incident, but is able to get back going and back out there on circuit.
I remember seeing, I can't remember if it was Clio's or whether it was Minis having a huge accident there where they went over the catch fencing.
Ooh,
yeah, bang, one side, and oh my goodness! Then has to try and get out the way and get himself spun around. But yeah, Roy Weller not having a good run there through Sheens.
Not at all. And while these guys do have themselves the one fast repair to use, here's what happens with Matt Caruana. He's up into second place while we're on the replay there. Gets towards the inside on Eatwell and makes it look quite simple down into there, and gets himself onto the second step of the podium. And now it's going to be 23 minutes of Caruana, seeing if Caruana can get past Hope for the race lead.
I could tell you now from experience in the sim and watching him in real life, that move into Surtees is an Ash Sutton special. I once, back when he was, before he was even in the British Touring Car Championship, me and him and a few others were practicing around here to get him prepared for his championship finale in the Clios back in 2015. And we spent a good hour and a half around this track, this particular layout, just trying to defend from him, trying to attack him, and you could see the talent in him then. And yeah, it was a favourite spot of his. Very light brake down the inside, force the other car to not get to the apex, and that gets you the position done. Doesn't always work though, I can point out.
Is that you sort of saying, don't say that I told you to do it? But look at this, Jack Jeffries around the outside here, which is a bold move at the best at times, but Luke Andrews is able to defend it and hold on. Jeffries just really harassing the back of that Porsche ahead of him, really giving Andrews no room to breathe, really, as they head through these right-handers, and now in towards Sterling's Ben, that on-camber left-hander. It's still remaining close between the two of them, but yeah, that was an aggressive move up into Hawthorns for the number 10 there, seemingly very eager to try and get his way by.
Yeah, Jack still wants to get good results here and does want to keep ahead. He does want to keep in second place in the pro standings. I mean, he should keep second place, if I'm honest. Will Eatwell's had a couple of difficult races this season. Look at that, to the inside of Druids. Use the hill to help you slow down, and then get that down, power down, and then round he goes.
a little bit of a kiss through the bodywork, through the apex, but all in all, it was otherwise a clean pass for Jack Jeffries. There's Ben Cooper having a big off, avoids the barriers, but ends up with some, well, a lost position and some hurt pride, perhaps.
Yeah, that's called just touching the grass and touching the brakes at the same time, and that just sends him around. That's what happened in the background of shot when we were focused on the Jeffries and Andrews fight. At the front, though, Edward Hope still with the fastest lap of the race, so he's got some pace here, but he's got a very hard charge in Matt Caruana, who's up 5 places right now, as there he is, champion-elect.
We had our first different winner in both classes in the previous race. So Caruana has won every single race this season, bar one. So this is potentially going to be quite important to him not to drop another one. And of course, he's already got the championship pretty much sealed. It's just the pride about taking home as many race wins as possible. But of course, Edward Hope is looking for his first race win of the season. And it's been a slow build for him throughout, but to be able to be this competitive at the very end is certainly something to be celebrated. And well, he's hoping that he can hold off our championship leader by quite a margin.
Yeah, but that's easier said than done. We're only 10 minutes into this race.
Yeah, exactly.
So, Edward's got a long way ahead of him. Don't write him off, though. He could still do a really good job here. It's what he can do with his race pace. Remember, Matt Caruana's had to work his way through and gain 5 places, so he's had to push his tyres a little bit in these opening stages. That could come back to bite him towards the end of the race, whereas Edward at the moment being able to just control things at the front of the field. And here's Cal Chase, and he's got Cav Bud right behind the rejuvenated Cav Bud after his result last week at Alton Park.
Yeah, absolutely. It was an incredible race. Of course, there was a little bit of right place, right time, but you need the skill to be able to capitalize on those sorts of things. And Cav Bud really had an exemplary drive last time out, and was, you know, holding off a good couple of very, very strong competitors. So it was all based on merit, but been a slightly tougher race here at Brands Hatch than what he had previously at Alton Park, but 6th place still very respectable position, and 5th place on the horizon. There's been a battle between these two for the last couple of moments, so I wouldn't be surprised to see yet more side-by-side action between the two of these guys. But they have kind of dropped themselves back off the back of the rest of the top 5, however, by about 2 seconds, and then another couple of seconds up to Alistair Pollock in 3rd.
Carter, Pierce and Pollock are in the order in the race that they are in the championship. So Pierce and Pollock, there will be 3 points separate difference between the two finishing positions. So that would mean that Pierce would have a 4-point gap as things stand right now. Pollock, that we're looking at on board with right now, he's not close enough. He's dropped back nearly 4 seconds off of Mike Pierce. So Pierce has got the bit between his teeth and he's doing all he can to hold on to 2nd place. At the end of the day, is there any real difference between 2nd and 3rd in terms of the prizes? No, but it's pride.
It absolutely is. It feels better to say you're 2nd than to say you're 3rd, right? Although there was that whole Olympics thing of like bronze medal winners being happier than silver medal winners. There was that. There was some interesting study where it was like actually, you know, the bronze medal winners are just sort of happy they got a medal, but the silver medal winners sort of were disappointing because they didn't get gold.
Yep, we have seen that. I think those drivers though will be seeing that as their own little championship. Oh, now lap traffic for Edward Hope. This could be Caruana's opportunity, but he's compromised through the right-hander there at Westfield, so not able to take advantage of it at all.
Lap time on the shorter side of things means that the lap traffic is going to come much quicker here than it would do at some other circuits. So it's of course, some of the AM drivers have had their own issues, yes, which is why some of them are off the pack a little bit. But I imagine this issue will become a little bit more exacerbated a little bit later on in the race. But Edward Hope having to be forced to go defensive here into Paddock Hill Bend, able to open up the corner a little bit to try and make sure he can maintain momentum through the corner, but misses the apex. But so does Caruana as he looks towards the inside now, decides against the move, but follows closely through Druids now. And well, you can't see him currently, but Will Eatwell is also all over the back of this one as well, trying to make his presence known. So Caruana still has to be careful about this one. A compromise line through Graham Hill Bend for Edwards Hope means Caruana can arc out the corner in towards Surtees. He's going to have the speed coming off the corner as long as he can time it right. Doesn't quite, and now potentially this might shuffle things because you can see how Caruana is getting so close to Hope, but oh, gets to the outside for Hawthorns again. That's a risky move, especially with how much speed and on the limit of grip that these guys are. But the three of them actually are nose to tail. You can just tell by the timing screen.
It's absolutely
traffic.
beautiful. Now that traffic's getting out the way of all of them, thankfully, so won't affect them here. That was Stuart Rice at the midway. Past! Oh, big mistake there from Hope. And this is the thing. We've seen a couple of little mistakes creep in to Edward right here. We're past the halfway point of the race, and I just feel he's feeling that pressure. Caruana, you can see him lining him up in multiple corners ahead. He's going for the cutback here on the exit of Paddock Hill Bend. They both run wide.
Exactly the same. Oh, to the inside, Caruana. Door completely shut in his face as Eatwell looks to try and make progress around the outside. Doesn't quite get it done. Both cars sliding off the corner there in towards Graham Hill Bend here as well. It's a fantastic fight amongst the top three in the pro category. Caruana getting a good run. Just about gets to the inside for Surtees here. Edward Hope gives him the space, but Caruana's overcommitted. He goes into the runoff almost and has to drop back behind Eatwell.
I think there might have been just a little bit of a nose rub from Hope there as the both cars sort of switched lines through that, and that just unsettled Caruana's car to a little bit. No malice in that at all. It's just hard racing is this. This is fantastic. Another car in front that's lap traffic Roy Weller. Now, Roy, I would imagine, will be jumping out the way of these guys. No, he isn't. He's going to hold his line and force the drivers, the leaders, around.
Oh, and it's given the opportunity to Will Eatwell as Edward Hope had a poor run coming through the corner. Will Eatwell trying to go for the race lead in towards the final corner here. Big slide from Ed Hope. That's going to compromise him all the way down the pit straight to the grass goes Caruana. So against the pit wall, a bit of shoving once, twice, three times with the door on the way towards Paddock Hill Bend. There is no love lost between these two, let me tell you that. Will there be a diving response from Hope in towards Druids? Oh, it's all getting a bit too much. Caruana gets contact, outbreaks himself in towards Druids and has to rejoin.
I don't think that was Caruana outbreaking himself. I think he was giving a little bit of assistance there from Ed Hope. It was so close, even the smallest, even missing a braking a metre or two later than the car in front, and you end up into the back of them. I'd love to see an onboard from Hope's car in all of that, but my goodness, door banging down the start and finish straight there, the Brabham straight, that's not ideal, and it's not conducive of good racing, really. Yeah, it's fun to watch for us, but I'm sure that the race stewards will be just saying, calm it down, lads.
Here's a replay of the view as all the way to, I think that was a closing door there if you're Caruana, so I think if you're, and he's trying to move Hope towards the outside of the circuit, they'll give him a better run through Paddock Hill Bend. So aggressive driving as we're used to seeing from Caruana, and then Edward Hope tried to maybe give himself some of his own medicine, well, a little bit of a tap.
Caruana has half moved to the inside, so I think Hope was thinking that he's going for that defensive move, and he is Caruana, and Hope held his line. So yeah. I think Caruana was just half there, half isn't, and that's what induced the contact there between the two of them.
Yeah, absolutely. crazy stuff, and probably a very busy steward's room after after this race, let's just say that. But let's see how it's changed the race then, because, well, actually we'll have to put that aside for a moment, because close fights going on in the AM category here. This is Wayne Basson versus Carl Chase, and the number 71 giving chase to the number 9 at the moment for P4 in the AM category. But yeah, we just have to calm down a little bit from that pro battle. It does mean that Ewell has a second advantage over Hope here at the moment, and Jack Jeffrey's getting promoted back up into 3rd place here, and Caruana having to do all the work again to try and get back through the field.
I will say with the AMs, Alistair Pollock has closed up the gap to Mike Pierce. That's important for 2nd and 3rd place in the AM Championship. Right as we say that, the overall leaders are making their way past the recovering Adam Greaveson, and Caruana's having to try and do these moves again. Lovely up and under there. Lovely cut under there from Matt Caruana.
Yeah, absolutely. Just, you know, expertly done to try and scythe his way back through this field. I doubt, though, with less than 10 minutes left, he'll be able to get back towards the front. Here comes Carl Chase then around the outside here of Wayne Basson for P4 in the AM category. Still absolutely level in towards 30s here with 9.5 minutes left to go. Chase trying to get the speed around the outside, gets the traction, gets the advantage, gets clear coming down the straight as around goes Luke Andrews.
Yeah, that's down at Graham Hill Bend. I would imagine that there's been some form of contact involved there for Andrews to be off in that direction. So, yeah, those two around, and here we go. Oh, and it was Andrews making a move on Caruana. I will say Andrews is being a bit hopeful there with that move. And it was never really on, was that, and Caruana was always going to be taking his racing line.
Absolutely, side by side, in and among some of the AM drivers here. It's or rather a pro driver getting involved with some AM drivers. That's a recovering Dave Martin, or rather, not recovering Dave Martin's trying to deal with lap traffic. I will get it right at some point, folks. But yeah, just continuing to try and scythe his way through this AM field. They have been spread out quite a bit, the AM category, though, so they're not really coming in big chunks in terms of traffic. They're just sort of the odd straggler here and there.
I mean, you say that Carl Chase and Wayne Basson are the next ones that the overall leader is going to be coming through. And then there's a little bit of a gap, and then it's Alistair Pollock and Mike Pierce, and Pollock 129.9 last lap, 130.6 for Pierce last lap. So Pollock's charging down Mike Pierce here. We could be seeing a real charge from Pollock to try and switch things up in the AM Championship.
7.5 minutes to go, though, so not a lot of time to work with to try and get this done for him, but never say never. Those positions, of course, they're both still prize-paying, positions in the AM category. However, like you said, there's something to be said about being second rather than third. But there's Will Eatwell at the very front of this field. So after a very competitive fight in and amongst the top 3 for those positions earlier on, Ewell has enjoyed the most healthy advantage of this first race, back to Ed Hope. And then Jack Jeffries maintaining and holding station there in 3rd, although he's going to have Caruana breathing down his neck well, maybe a couple of moments.
Yeah, he's about half a second back, isn't he, is Caruana. In fact, you can see them in the background of shot there. So there's Will Eatwell, and you look at the as things stand right now, Eatwell 3rd place in Pro, not really gaining enough points over Jack Jeffries. Ed Hope is the big sort of outsider there, coming in, looking at 11th place coming out of this first race.
Yeah, big effort from Edward Hope. It's been a long time coming, though. We've seen him in these sorts of positions before, especially in the back end of this season, but it just sort of hasn't really been converted for him on a lot of occasions. So if he's able to have a clean last 6 minutes here, then he should come away with a good points haul and hopefully well, get himself up into that 11th place in the championship and maybe more coming out of race 2.
Never say never. Here comes Caruana on Jeffries. No move been made yet, but you've seen multiple times how drivers have to set up multiple corners in advance around here to make a move stick. You almost, for a move to happen into Druids, have to start that move going into Clark Curve. So it shows you have to be a thinking driver and try and position your car to get the other car in front of you out of position, and the multiple corners later finally get that run done. So yeah, definitely Caruana's putting the pressure on here, but Jeffries is doing okay. But yeah, they're what, 4 and a bit seconds off of Will Eatwell out there.
It's kind of crazy how Caruana can bounce back from a bad qualifying, get towards the front, have an incident, go back through the field, and now is knocking on the door of the podium once again. So it's a bit of a yo-yo race for that bright red number 20 car, and yeah, getting unfortunate with the positioning with the traffic there, the number 21. That is going to be Alistair Pollock. You can kind of see why Pollock didn't really want to give up that place too easily, because he has his own race to be concerned about to try and catch Mike Pierce.
And the thing is, Alistair Pollock didn't really do anything wrong there. He just ran his line. For anyone who's new to multi-class racing, it's usually asked of the cars in the lower category to just race their racing line, and for the faster cars to make their way around them safely. A little bit wide from Jeffries, and Caruana can sniff an opportunity here. Yeah, it's generally asked that the cars in this case the GT4, the Cayman, hold their line and let the others work their way around them.
Indeed. I'm sort of waiting with bated breath here a little bit, because I know that this is going to be, well, it's going to be side by side right now. Caruana to the outside of Hawthorne's here on Jack Jeffries. Jeffries able to hold the inside and keep himself clear, but he's going to overcook the entry there. Gets a bit wide. Caruana able to come back underneath through Dingledell in towards Sheen Curve now. Caruana with almost a quarter car length ahead. It's not enough to work with. In towards Stirling's Bend now, and Jeffries is able to keep himself ahead, but Caruana basically pushes him through the corner on the run down in towards Clark Curve now. Our final corner here at Brands Hatch. Caruana around the outside, gets a whole bunch of speed and a bunch of momentum and is clear by the time the start-finish line arrives. Jeffries tries to follow in closely, maybe looks for an opportunity out of Paddock Hill Bend and then to be able to have that little look into Druids, but Caruana has just stretched his legs just enough to be able to make sure that that does not happen.
Yeah, that was good stuff from Caruana there, doing almost did to Jeffries what Jeffries did earlier on in the race down there through Hawthorne Bend. But then, like I said earlier, setting up multiple corners in advance to try and make that move. If I only got that move stuck, I was actually a little bit surprised to see him make that move stick all the way around the outside of Clark Curve. So, yeah, good stuff from Caruana. He's shown that he's got the pace here. He's just maybe had a little bit of misfortune, and that's what happens when you qualify further down your respective field. You get involved in things that maybe aren't necessarily all your own doing.
Yeah, absolutely not. So, well, 1:40 left to go. Where is Will Eatwell? He's going to be, well, he's already headed his way across the line, so we'll actually still have 2 more laps here. Actually, he comes across the line now, so 1:24 on the clock. It's a 1:25 lap time, Paul. At least the fastest lap times, so it's going to be a little bit more. We'll see what the flag is.
Yeah, we'll see what the flag is. Oh, Edward Hope's off.
No.
That's going to give Caruana a great chance now to get onto the back. Hope's done well to keep it out of the tyre walls there at Paddock Bend, but big drama here coming into the closing stages of this first race.
I think Edward Hope thought, actually, we need more adrenaline in this final couple of laps here, lap or couple of laps, depending on what we get. Yeah, it's just a mistake. Absolutely nothing. No one else around. Misjudged his line, misjudged his braking point, and has to take the trip all the way through the gravel here. And Jack Jeffries also, still on the outside looking in here. So a bunch of traffic ahead of these guys, which may complicate the situation. Caruana getting impeded somewhat here. Jeffries will also, have to deal with a similar fate as he gets blocked by the GT4. But yeah, that was a very heart-in-mouth moment for Jack Jeffries. Meanwhile, is it the white flag? Is it the checkered flag for Will Eatwell? He's going to head his way through Clark Curve here. It's the checkered flag at the starter's stand. It's Will Eatwell taking the race win here at Brands Hatch in the Porsche Esports Sprint Challenge Great Britain, the penultimate round. Aiden Carter coming across the line for another race win in the AM category there. But my word, it got a little bit interesting there at the end for the pro category. And with this third place finish for Matt Caruana, he does take the pro championship in the Porsche Esports Sprint Challenge Great Britain.
Great stuff there from Matt Caruana. It was a charging drive, fun to watch. Got a little bit hairy at times out there as well for us, but there he is. Looks nonplussed. You wouldn't imagine he's just won a championship, but there you go. He's a bit sort of nonplussed about everything, and I don't think he'll be too happy with the incident that happened between him and Hope, but there was nothing malicious in that.
Absolutely there. Will Eatwell taking the race win, first race win of the season for Will Eatwell. Then we've got Ed Hope and Matt Caruana as our podium. Then you got Jack Jeffries and George Tyler, Ben Smith, Dave Martin, Luke Andrews, Ben Cooper, Christian Saruta rounding out the top 10. James Armstrong, the retiree, they're down 20 laps from this race. Speaking of championships, Aiden Carter also takes the championship win in the AM category. We'll give him a proper commentary moment at the end of next race. But he wins by 11.5 seconds over Mike Pierce. And then, of course, Alistair Pollock getting himself onto the podium as well. Carl Chase and Wayne Basson end up the top 5. Then you got Cav Budd, Adam Grayson, Denise Pope, Stuart Rice and Roy Weller rounding out the top 10. And well, the top 10 is the 10 in the AM category. But usually we have a little bit of a chat in these sorts of breaks between the two races, Paul. But it looks like we're actually going to get a conversation with our pro championship winner, aren't we?
Certainly are. Let's bring him in here and say, Matt Caruana, you're a pro champion here in the Porsche Esports Sprint Challenge GB. How does that feel?
Yeah, nice. It's great. It's been a great season. I've had a pretty consistent season, except for the last 3 races. It's been a bit dodgy, but yeah, I managed to get it done. So yeah, I'm happy.
It certainly has been impressive to watch from our point of view. But that race in particular, I mean, what happened in qualifying to start with? It looked like it had a bit of a mare. Yeah,
to be honest, I really have no idea. I just bottled the lap, got the first lap in, and then just messed up the second one, and that was it.
Well, you certainly gave us plenty of entertainment with that hard-charging drive. Some hard-fought racing as well between you, Jeffries, Eatwell, Hope as well. Looking into the second race then, you've got the championship in the bag. It's just a bit of fun now, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly. It's just a bit of fun now. See what I can do from third. Yeah, hopefully end on a win. That's the aim. But yeah, we'll see.
Well, you certainly seem to have the race pace out there, but just final thought on the championship. You've had some good competition out there. You've been pushed by multiple drivers, but you just seem to have had that edge all the way through the season, haven't you?
Yeah, no, I think I've prepared well throughout the season for each race. So yeah, no, it's been good. I've enjoyed racing everyone, especially Jack at the start of the season. We had a good few battles at the start. So yeah, no, I've enjoyed it a lot.
Well, we'll let you go away, get prepared for the second race. But once again, congratulations on that Pro Championship.
Thank you, appreciate it.
There we go. So that is our Pro Champion, Matt Caruana. I'd be a bit more excited myself if I'd just won a championship. But that's maybe because I'm not used to winning championships, but that's just that's me. But he's been deserved, absolutely deserved, as that Pro Championship.
Absolutely. And, well, you're not used to winning championships. I've won 2, apparently. Well, not apparently, I have. Oval ones, UK-only ones that people don't care about. People care about this one. So, yeah, Caruana, fantastic effort throughout the season. He's one of those really fun drivers to watch. Yes, he's aggressive. Yes, a lot of people don't like that, right? He gets to put himself into some very interesting situations, quite often. However, it's not, you can't say it's not entertaining, right?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. It's been entertaining to watch. Okay, he had 1 or 2 races where he did seem to be the class of the field and just waltz away at the front. But he's had to work for it the majority of the rounds of this championship. As he said, Jeffries, the fights that they had at Donington Park right at the start of the championship in the mixed conditions, that was tremendous to watch. Last week, Alton Park, Will Eatwell and himself duking it out. That was a thrill ride to watch that one. Yeah, he has been challenged by multiple people. It's just that he's always had that one step ahead of everybody else.
Yeah, he absolutely has, and you can see that just from his race pace here today. He not only was able to come up through the field from a bad qualifying, he was able to do it again at the end of, after having that instant down in towards Druids. So, the resilience is there, and he's able to push on and make sure that he's getting maximum points from these races, or as much as possible. But yeah, it's, all in all, a fantastic season from him. There were a couple of races there, back through the season where he was basically untouchable. Yeah.
Yeah, he was, and it showed all the way through those ones. But we've got one more race to go, and it's a scary thought when somebody has like that has the weight taken off of them, and they can have fun because it's going to be something spectacular. It usually is when a champion gets to have the leashes taken off of him.
Yeah, absolutely. It's sort of like a bit like an attack dog or something. Just go, right? Just absolutely unrelenting. But yeah, it's going to be interesting to see. I guess he's not really going to approach this second race in any different of a fashion, really. He's just going to go and push on and try and get that race win. But of course, with in our AM category, Aiden Carter's taken the championship win there, of course, in more normal of a fashion for him. It was looking a bit sketchy at the start of the race there with with not getting himself on towards pole position, but in the end, it sort of became business as normal for Aiden Carter after the first half of the event, essentially. So he just does it in quite convincing fashion.
Yeah, certainly does do that. The fight between Pierce and Pollock, though, is going to go all the way to the end of this next race to decide who's second and third place in AM. That's going to be one to keep an eye on throughout this one. And Pierce seemed to have that little bit of an edge over Pollock in that first race.
Yeah, this is going to be a very, very intriguing one. So it's, of course, all these things can change for second race, but but we can see the theme, right, of them still being close, but the edge is there. But again, we've got ourselves our second race, and our grid is set based on the results of this first race, right? So they'll be put in close contention pretty much from the get-go. And we'll have to see what fireworks potentially emanate from that.
Yeah, certainly those two. It's going to be intense. It's going to be fierce between them. But Pierce right now, I don't think he needs to do anything drastic He just needs to finish behind Pollock. The only time that wouldn't work for him is if he was to finish behind Pollock and Pollock won the race. So it's got to be careful as to how and where he finishes. But if Pollock isn't leading this race at the end, all Pierce needs to do is finish right behind him.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, that's the task at hand there then, as we get ourselves set for our second race. And this is going to be our final race of the season here. We're about 6 minutes away from getting ourselves our starting grid for race number 2 of the evening. And I can tell you now, bone dry out there as well. So we won't have a wet race to finish it off, however fun that may have been. Winds picked up a little bit, but the same, or roughly, well, track temperature is going to be, let's see, wait for it to load, the exact same as race number 1, 29 degrees Celsius. So track conditions, not different whatsoever for our second race. So the driver should be used to that, should know how this goes. Maybe a bit of a change in the track rubbered in state, but that's going to be a minor influence on the proceedings here today.
Yeah, certainly, and I think to be honest, the drivers will be happy to see that there's no rain in the sky. I would have loved to have seen just a rain band come in halfway through the race, just to really spice things up there. But no, these drivers, they've had mixed conditions at a couple of rounds of the championship. Right at the start of the season at Donington Park. Let's not forget that one. That was the key one for me. Ed, when you saw Will Eatwell take wet tyres at the start of that first race when it was slick weather for them, that was a big one. Christian Zaruta later on in the season, where he went for the wet tyres, everyone else was on slicks. It shows how things can be thrown up. If it had worked out for them, if it had been right choice, they would have been known as a hero. But at that point, they were certainly not that there. So definitely, it's been a thrill ride to watch this one, and I can't wait to get this one in the books.
Yeah, I can't wait either, as I hope my internet connection remains stable enough for this for the rest of this race, as it had a little bit of a moment there. But we've got 4 minutes to get ourselves, until we get ourselves in towards our second race there. There's the number 13 car, that's Roy Welly, and you're never going to miss that car with the lightning bolt on the front, with the lime-coloured sort of accents with the blue. It's sort of like almost like a retro-style battery brand. Is kind of the vibe that I get from that car, Paul.
Yeah, certainly give yourself a bit of shot of energy.
Energy drink, yes. Yeah, more than battery, yeah.
That's what I was thinking. So certainly good to see. But yeah, we get one more go at it, and these drivers, well, gloves off for a few drivers, and a few of them are going to be a little bit more tense for their final championship spots. I'm looking forward to this one because it could be chaos or it could be glorious. Personally, I would prefer the latter.
Absolutely. Well, I would prefer whatever's more fun. There's the updated standings actually. So these are unofficial, of course, because they're pending stewards review. But you can see that the Caruana reaching a nice and even 200 points at the end of race number 1. Jack Jeffries, of course, in second place here, with Will Eatwell in third. So there might be an intriguing little interaction between Jeffries and Eatwell for second and third, depending on the exact configuration they head their way across the line at the end of our next 30-minute race. But yeah, George Tyler, unfortunately, not mathematically possible for him to get inside the top 3 at this stage. So the top 3 is pretty much set. Well, it is set for the Pro Order. Caruana, Jeffries and Eatwell will be going to the Porsche Experience Centre.
I do think, though, just from quick maths, that Jeffries would need to win. Eatwell would need to win, and Jeffries would need to finish at least 8th for them to switch places. So that's how that one looks. But yeah, the AM Championship, yeah, again, the AM Championship has been sewn up, but it's that fight for second place, just 4 points separating Pearson and Pollock. And don't write out Adam Greaveson. Okay, he had that accident down at Hawthorns in that first race, but there's still just a handful of points, 14 points separating him and Pierce.
Yeah, indeed. There's the championship still, well, the every position apart from the championship lead still undecided down there in the AM category, which is what's going to make this second race of the evening all the more interesting. It's our final race of the season here at Brands Hatch. I just can't wait to get it going. We are less than a minute away from getting our grid set here for this final go around. But just before that, I do want to say that thank you very much to everyone for all of their support over the course of this season. It's been a whole bunch of fun. It's been fun commentating with Paul virtually beside me, and of course, you know, the interactions in both the YouTube chat and of course in the Porsche Twitch has been really fun to read over the course of these races as well. So let's make this final race one to remember, shall we, as we get into it. Christian Saruta, of course, gets himself into a habit of getting good qualifying, but then certain circumstances happen in race one which puts him down the order. So can he finally get himself a good finish by trying to climb through the order? That's going to be one of the things that we're going to look at over the course of this final race. But checkered flag is out there in terms of the warm-up session. We'll get ourselves into racing mode. The starter grid, of course, is the results from race number one. So we'll go through them rather quickly because the drivers will be very eager to get themselves going. So let's have a look then at the starting grid for our final race of the season. Of course, at the very front of the field, it will be Will Eatwell in terms of pole position in the pro category. Then you got Edward Hope and Matt Caruana starting with the top three. Then fourth goes Jack Jeffries with George Tyler in fifth. Ben Smith in sixth with Dave Martin seventh. Luke Andrews, Ben Cooper, Christian Saruta will round out the top 10. In terms of AM, it's Aidan Carter taking pole position there with Mike Pierce and Alistair Pollock in P2 and P3. Carl Chase will line up fourth with Wayne Basson, Kev Bird, Adam Graveson, Denise Pope, Stuart Rice and Roy Weller rounding out the AM field here today. So drivers are lining up on their grid spots for the final time in this season of the Porsche Esports Sprint Challenge Great Britain. The final round about to get itself underway. Engine notes rise for the last time.
Green flag, green flag.
We'll get our run down in towards turn one for the last time. We are go, go, go here at Brands Hatch. And it's Matt Caruana with a good start from third place, able to get himself up ahead of Edward Hope in the early goings here as they all get themselves through Paddock Hill Bend. Side by side between Ben Smith and George Tyler on the way up towards Druids now here in this pro order. No big incidents here so far like we saw in the first race of the evening. Single file in towards Graham Hill Bend is the order of the day. Back in the AM category, things are looking quite calm indeed as it's Aidan Carter ahead of Mike Pierce, then Alistair Pollock, exactly how they started. Then you've got Carl Chase and Cav Bird, Adam Graveson looking to try to recover, get back through the order. So it looked like a rather, in the grand scheme of things, rather clean affair for the start of the final race, although the action's already starting or looking to start happening through the middle sector.
Yeah, there was that look down into Hawthorns and then Westfield here for Carl Chase. But Pollock, he needs to get ahead of Pierce. That's the first task for him, get ahead of Pierce. And then Pollock needs to get ahead of Aidan Carter as well to be able to have any hope of finishing second place in the AM Championship. So that's what he'll be hoping for as we'll ride on board with Pollock right now. There he is on the screen in the darkness, helping him focus with no distractions around him. But end of lap one, it's half a second between him and Pierce.
Indeed. So things getting themselves spaced out, although it has, well, diving it down really hard in towards Druid to try to make up as much time as possible, using up the performance in those tyres on the GT4. So you have to be careful to not to take too much out at this very early stage. Yes, it is only a half-an-hour race, and you know, tyre performance doesn't tend to matter too much, but it sometimes just loses you that slight edge to try and get past your competitors. Although George Tyler, Edward Hope going wheel to wheel through up towards the middle sector here, and well, George Tyler definitely getting himself involved in the thick of things here and getting ahead of Ed Hope. So Ed Hope actually sliding back slightly over the course of this race, well, at least in the early stages. So it hasn't really gone as well as race 1 for him.
Yeah, that's 2 positions lost on this lap for both Jack Jeffries and George Tyler. I think it was a mistake through Surtees, and as we look back to Roy Weller, who's had a mistake through Surtees, and that is not how you want to end a season. He is back out there running again, but that is a very, very damaged motor car indeed. Caruana and Eatwell are together as well on track. Eatwell with the fastest lap in Pro.
Yeah, absolutely. So scope for things to change there, and a couple of looks down the inside at Druids, although no commitment from anyone, at least in the pro order just yet there. As you know, they're surprisingly calm for the last race of the season, aren't they? I was expecting a bit more chaos, a bit more hopeful lunges, just to have a little bit of fun. But I think the drivers are sort of taking a more cerebral approach to this race.
Yeah, well, it's last day of school syndrome, and hungry hippos, so they're just going to have to go out there racing. Yeah, it's really, really good stuff at the start of this race, and they seem to be going well, as right now, George Tyler seems to be holding up Ed Hope and the rest of the field. That's just allowing Jack Jeffries to pull away. And for Will Eatwell, that's the worst thing that he can see, is Jack Jeffries getting a gap to those behind him.
Yeah, absolutely. So yeah, it's you know, not a great moment for Edward Hope as he gets, you know, stuck in this little bit of traffic. It was just a poor opening lap for him. Really, it's you know, and ends up getting sort of snarled up behind these bits of traffic. And sometimes when you have one bad thing happen to you, it sort of starts to compound, and you start making more mistakes as trying to recover from that error, and you just start sliding even further and further back. It's that rut that drivers sometimes actually get themselves into, and it's really hard to get out of.
Well, you're out of a rhythm. That's it. That's Caruana now. He's made it ahead, but not for long, because Eatwell to the inside of Surtees. He parks the car on the apex. Lovely job done by Will Eatwell. That's bringing Jeffries into this fight. But yeah, if you end up out of your rhythm, you soon find yourself not hitting your apexes, and braking points correctly. And that just, contact between Hope and Tyler. Tyler spat out into the barrier, and after all that, Ben Smith takes advantage, or does he? No, yes he does.
Yeah, absolutely, into that back turn at Sterling's, and Smith is able to hold on to that gained position over Hope. But yeah, let's see Hope on the outside here, still on the outside, and yeah, just didn't want to cut his losses and didn't want to cut the opportunity up.
I mean, he's got a nose there, but
yeah, not enough for me.
You can let go of the throttle a little bit and just back out of that. Caruana dropping down the order here. He's had a drama. He's lost the place to Jack Jeffries on the previous lap, and he's dropped down to 6th place. He's not going for a last to first challenge, is he?
He doesn't want to make it easy, does he? he's put himself back into the pack now. I think, let's see on the replay. Oh, just a little bit of a snap over the curve, and oh boy, if he hit the barrier there, we could be talking about a different situation. But yeah, Caruana, lucky that he's able to still take part in this final race. Yes, he has the championship sealed up, but you'll want a race win, and out wide he goes again. Yeah, I think this is the fun element coming out.
I know Porsche in the past have made rallycross cars. I don't think they intended for the 992 to be it. But there you go. Caruana certainly making it an expensive lawnmower, and Jonathan Palmer will not like seeing his grass being messed up in such a way. But Caruana's got to do all the hard work again here. But what this does mean is that Jack Jeffries, he can just sit where he is and get himself confirmed into second place in the Pro Championship. Here comes Caruana.
Too far back to be able to make anything work there, though. Andrew's also concerned about trying to get past Ed Hope in front as well, as they're all stacked up, nose to tail. Coming through Druids, then we've got Val, Cavbud and Denise Pope at the bottom of your picture there, having a little bit of a door-to-door moment. Coming through Clark Curve, coming across the start-finish line now. Still a bit of an overlap between the two of them, but I think Pope will have the advantage on the inside still. Yes, it is clear. Meanwhile, more battling happening in the AM category, as that is actually Mike Pierce versus Adam Graveson.
Yeah, Graveson, remember, coming into this race 14 points behind Mike Pierce into this final race. So Graveson needs some big stuff to happen on. That's not what they want. Pollock's through, and as things stand right now, with the points,
big instance.
Andrew's off. Luke Andrews off. We'll get back to the AM thing in a second, but Andrews had big drama at Sheen.
Well, big drama in amongst a couple of pro drivers, as it was a battle between Hope and Smith that started this one off, and then it was made 3 wide by Andrews. We'll see it on the replay there. There's the two ahead going side by side, having their own battles. Andrews trying to poke his nose in, make it 3 wide into here, and well, that's never something that works around here. It does work for a brief moment, becomes 2 by 2, and then collision on the apex. Caruana getting a piece of that as well. Nowhere to go.
Oh my goodness, yeah. Big check-up and drama and spinning. Just to make a quick observation, if things stay as they stand right now in AM, doing quick back of an envelope maths, without the fastest lap point, because I don't know who's got the fastest lap, Pollock's just ahead of Pierce by a point. So this is high drama. Pierce needs to get ahead of Adam Graveson, but Graveson's no slouch.
Yeah, Carter, I believe, has the fastest lap point at the moment there down in AM, so the fastest lap is taken out of the equation. So, yeah, Pollock just by a single point right now over Pierce. That is as close as you like. But, of course, you know, Mike Pierce doesn't have to pass Pollock. Mike Pierce has to pass Adam Graveson to try and get himself back ahead of Pollock and into second place in the championship.
This is fascinating stuff, and Caruana's trying his best to make a move on Ben Smith here in this one, but that's not quite happening, and he's got not insignificant damage to the front of his car either after that contact with Luke Andrews' car. So I think that Caruana will be hindered a little bit in terms of top speed, although look at him. The speed that he carries through corners really helps him mitigate that.
Yeah, absolutely. As Smith was a little bit squirrely on the throttle there. Caruana is going to have a look in towards Hawthorns once again. Down the hill, back up they go. Caruana, can he hold it? He's trying to fight against the potential damage he might have to the front end of that car, having to dive all over the place to try to find an advantage, but unsuccessful in doing so at the moment. Tries to get it over them. There it is, up in towards Sheen. This is incredible stuff for Caruana, and he's through. He's through down towards Sterling's, and now Saruta's the next one in line to try and get through on Smith. Of course, Smith has his own damage as well to be concerned about.
Yeah, the back end of that car looks a bit second-hand as well. The Porsche spare parts department will be rubbing their hands with delight at this one. But yeah, that was a nice move. Again, worked over a few corners around that back end. got the cut under, and that meant that he had the inside line for Sheen, and you can't really go too wide through Sheen unless you compromise both of you, as still Cav Bud, Wayne Basson and Denise Pope are still continuing this never-ending battle in this race.
Yeah, Pope leading the three of them around at the moment. In that 6th place in the AM category. It's good to give you know, a couple of minutes of airtime to these battles a little bit further down the field. But you know, there sometimes might be the only battles in a particular category as well. But it's been great seeing these folks really try their best and give some good battles throughout this season. This is not the only time we featured these three, so especially the one in the background there, as Cav took the race win, the race 2 win at Alton Park. Go on.
Mike Pierce is now ahead of Pollock in the championship as the things stand, because Greaveson has made it past Pollock. So change of position, and here it is, out of Paddock Hill Bend, up into Druids, and that's what's going to potentially cost Alistair Pollock a 2nd place in AM.
Indeed, and well, it's I mean, losing out with that position to Adam Greaveson. Greaveson has been one of the stronger drivers in the AM category. So there's just has had unfortunate luck in some the races here today. Sorry, I'm just being distracted by Christian Saruta. Have a look all over the back of Ben Smith, and I don't think it's going to be a matter of time now before Saruta heads his way through, tries a little bit of an attempt in towards Surtees here, but it was a defensive sort of middle to inside line being taken by Ben Smith. But I think the Saruta has the car underneath him, the clean car underneath him, to try and capitalize on this. It's just a matter of when.
It's a matter of when, and it's a matter of getting that move done cleanly. Unfortunately for Zaruta, has got involved in a few things this season. Some his own doing, some not. And he'll be hoping for a good bit of luck to finish off this season. Up 4 places from where he started, is Christian. So if he can get another place, that's half the field he's gone and moved up here in Pro.
Yeah, absolutely, and it's pretty good going. And you know, he's had decent qualifying performances over the course of this season. It's just that race 1 has been his Achilles heel a little bit, because you know, it's either a lap 1, lap 2 incident, or you know, first portion of the race for certain, where he's run into some form of incident, some form of problem, and the championship as it is right now doesn't really represent Saruta's pace. That's what I think.
I think from other series that we've seen Zaruta racing, we know that he's got that pace. We do know that. It's when you're racing in a series like this, where it's a little bit of a step up in terms of the competition that he's up against. I think that's where you then see somebody who's got outstanding pace in one series, then comes into something like this, and it's a case of a bit more of a challenge. Yeah, Greaveson, I mean, remember, he started pole position in that first race of the evening. It was contact down into Hawthorns that cost him that any chance of a race win in AM. So Greaveson, he's got a big task to try and catch up to Aidan Carter, but never say never, there's still half the race to go.
What, about 5 seconds between them at the moment? So certainly possible with 14 minutes left to run in this race. We got just shy of half a race to go in this season of the Porsche Esports Sprint Challenge Great Britain. Of course, at the very top of the screen, you've got the Ben Smith, Christian Saruta, Dave Martin battle. And then at the bottom, of course, you have the situation down there in AM with Adam Greaveson getting past Carl Chase. But out in towards the gravel goes the number 21. That's Alistair Pollock, who ends up losing the position to Mike Pierce.
And that is pretty much it for Pierce and Pollock. Pollock knows that's his own mistake there. Little shake of the head, but he's got to focus up now and try and carry on. He's not quite had the pace all evening, has Alistair. We saw that in that first race, and Mike, of course, we saw a couple of rounds ago. He's racing in VR, is Mike, so it's interesting to see how he's able to have that pace and be in VR. It suits some people, it doesn't suit others. And Pollock, well, he's not giving this one up, and he can't afford to give it up.
Absolutely not. I mean, you know, the...
He can't afford to get involved in any instant as well, given how close Greaveson is in the live standings on the top right.
Yeah, absolutely. So it's you got to take this, you know, got to take a bit more of a cautious approach to this, I think, if you're Pollock. So yeah, no rash moves down the inside, no lunges from really far back, no side by side into really dangerous portions of the racetrack, I don't think. But any obvious opportunities, yeah, absolutely go for them. Down the inside of Druids, if you get it, you know, why not? But everywhere else, probably best to lift out a little bit and allow this to happen.
You can see he is pushing that car to the edge. Ooh, a little bit of a slide there from Pierce in front, but not quite close enough to take advantage for Pollock. And having to take the sweat off, he's really getting a workout there. Direct drive wheel as well, so you know, it will give you a workout.
Yeah, if you wanted a good sort of arm workout constantly, getting a direct drive wheel is probably a pretty good way of doing that. As he's down the inside at Paddock Hill Bend, the defense trying to be maintained there, but by Pierce. But again, another big commitment from Pollock down the inside at Druids. Looking, you're not really going to get the traction off the corner on the inside there. The outside can carry the speed, but what you can do if you're Pollock is try and get the line in towards Graham Hill Bend and maybe make a challenge in towards Surtees, but that configuration didn't exactly happen between the two of them.
It needed to be a lot tighter on the corner exit of Graham Hill Bend to make that move work. Little flash of the headlights. Don't know if that's terse or whether it's a little bit of I'm coming to get you. Down the inside into Hawthorns. We've seen this move around the inside. We've seen around the outside here in this race. And still absolutely neck and neck between the two of them. As I say, Pollock does have to be a little bit careful. Oh my goodness. Almost swapping paint there.
So close between the two in such a dangerous portion of the circuit as well. A little tap there could spell the end of one or both cars in terms of this race. So they're able to get away with it, and now in towards Clark Curve. But both of them must realize that, you know, they can't really put themselves into a situation where they get a DNF.
Well, I mean, the problem for Greaveson is he can't shit Carl Chase, who's in third place. So Greaveson's still having to push on to try and hold on to his place. Those two fighting has allowed Aidan Carter to just keep that gap at around 5-6 seconds over first and second. And look at this again. Carl Chase is looking all over the back of Adam Greaveson. So the AM Championship top three, second and third especially, it is really tense going into this final 10 minutes.
It really is. The second, third, fourth place in the championship could really finish in any configuration, but only two of those places are prize paying, second and third. So yeah, this is set the stage quite nicely here. They're not, you know, fighting each other directly out there on circuit, apart from Pierce and Pollock, but you know, Greaveson is trying to fight this battle by proxy here at the moment.
Trying his best, but yeah, I mean, Carl Chase, he very much is a case of he's doing his own thing. He came into this week in 9th place in the championship, so Carl's just wanting a really, really good result here. Best result of the season coming into this week was a 4th place, so you know, Carl is having to push on and to try and get it. He had enough of 4th place in the first race as well, did Carl, so it'd be nice for him to get himself a podium to finish off the season.
Yeah, it would, but it comes with an interesting set of circumstances though, with that AM second, third, fourth fight being the way it is. But he's entitled to hold his position. He's entitled to go for second as well. Absolutely. So you can just sort of say, I don't care about anyone else's championship, I just care about my race. And that is certainly a very, very, very valid point to make.
The fight between Pierce and Pollock is going to get the race leader, the overall race leader, Will Eatwell, catching up to them in the next lap or two. So that could actually separate things if he catches them at the wrong place in terms of these two battling.
Yeah, that could factor in, but of course, you know, if you're one of these two, you can try and use that little lapping procedure to your advantage. As Pollock looking aggressive at this stage as well. Through Sterling's Bend they come, or out of it they come, as Pierce tries to hold on and tries to defend this position. If he loses it, he doesn't lose the second place in the championship, but it would really make it a little bit more concerning when push comes to shove at the very end of the race. As you can see, the two differing approaches to the pit straight that the two drivers have taken. Now in towards Paddock Hill Bend, a lunge, a look for Alistair Pollock down the inside here. Will open up the move down in towards Druids as well. As late on the brakes as possible, trying not to use the other car as a brake, and Alistair Pollock is able to get himself through on Mike Pierce.
Problem is now Pollock needs to look ahead and go, oh, they're a ton of seconds ahead. They're 8 seconds ahead. Second and third place. Nice dive from Pollock, as here comes the overall race leader behind them, Will Eatwell. Pierce isn't giving this one up. As things stand right now, it's still Pierce who finishes second in the championship, in the AM Championship. But this is intense stuff between the two of them, and here comes Eatwell.
Eatwell gets through on Pierce, does not get through on Pollock, because he'll have to wait at least another corner, and actually one more potentially. Eatwell here, so he's getting majorly impeded as far as the race leader is concerned, but thankfully for him, he has a decent buffer. Again, has to stay behind Pollock for Sterling's Bend this time around, so that's a chunk of lost time for Eatwell, on the order of about 1.5 to 2 seconds, but he had a 4-second gap back to Jeffries at the start of the previous lap, so using that buffer that he was able to establish.
But the crucial thing for Pollock was he kept Eatwell behind, which compromised Mike Pierce through all of that as well, which has given Pollock a little bit of breathing space between the two of them here right now. So Pollock needs to just keep it on the grey stuff. But I tell you what, Pollock needs the help of Carl Chase to maybe have an incident with Adam Greaveson, and to have one of those go between himself and Mike Pierce for him to have any chance of getting second place.
Yeah, absolutely. So we'll see how things shake up then inside the final 5 minutes, not only of this race, but of this entire season as well. There is Alistair Pollock sort of working his way through. The pressure is, you know, slightly off a little bit now, because the traffic has really been impeding Mike Pierce over the last couple of moments. It's really fallen quite poorly for him. We'll have to see if the same happens for Pollock here, as it is Matt Caruana and Ed Hope trying to come through on him at the moment, but Ed Hope's going to be compromised a massive amount coming through Sterling's Bend. Now Caruana is able to get to driver's right hand side, goes for the Saul, an opening gap on the inside there. Ed Hope trying to go the other way around the lap traffic here, but he's not finding any success whatsoever. They make contact just a little bit. The flash of the lights in frustration from Pollock, the weave in frustration as well. That 21 was not happy about how Ed Hope approached that.
I tell you what, Matt Caruana used that lap traffic to perfection. Not quite Hakkinen on Schumacher with Ricardo Zonta. Oh, what a cutaway! Luke Andrews, Ben Cooper come together here at Paddock Hill Bend. Cooper's into the tyre wall. Oh my goodness, what an end to the season for those two.
Yeah, well, both of them back going. There is the battle continuing on, actually, between Matt Caruana and Ed Hope. Ed Hope trying to respond to Caruana, but not successful into Surtees that time. By now in towards Hawthorns, no opportunity, even though drivers have been going for moves in towards here. But Ed Hope's still looking very competitive. He's not letting Caruana get away at all, and actually is able to carry much more speed coming through Westfield Bend and now in towards Sheen Curve. There's still really no opportunity to try and get yourself alongside here. Now in towards Sterling's. It's getting tense between the two of them, but that is the instant that we saw into Paddock Hill.
Two lines into one just do not go, and unfortunately Ben Cooper is the one who comes off worst on that one. Head up into the grass there. Now, we've got to remember, Caruana is carrying damage to the front of his car from that incident earlier on in the race with Luke Andrews. Luke Andrews, by the way, has a black flag. Nice move to the inside from Ed Hope. Caruana's not going to give this one up, though.
Absolutely back through before Graham Hill Bend, as it was a bit of a wide line taken off the corner from Caruana, which opened up the opportunity. But now coming off of Graham Hill Bend and into Surtees, Caruana can try to attempt around the outside, looking for the cut back off the corner. But Ed Hope has placed his car very, very well through that long left-hander to try to deny that move. But this is still very risky. Outside for Hawthorns goes Caruana. It's a move he's tried many times with varying degrees of success through there, but not this time.
Don't forget, not much love lost between these two after race one. So this is very much not just about pride, but it's about getting one over each other as they catch up to the battle for second place in AM, as Ben Cooper's now got a mechanical meatball warning flag, so bad to worse for Ben. But yeah, this has been intense stuff. Great to watch all race between the few different battles that we've had out there. And well, it's what you expect to see from the Porsche Esports Sprint Challenge Great Britain.
Bit of lap traffic ahead as well. A little bit of a duel in towards Paddock Hill Bend once again here on lap 21 as Caruana down towards the inside at Druids. But look at those GT4s ahead. Those can still factor in. Caruana through up over the curb. Loses a little bit of momentum. Ed Hope back down the inside through Graham Hill Bend. They're absolutely leading on each other. Coming through there. Next corner, Surtees. That left-hander up the hill. Here comes the traffic as well. Hasn't had an immediate impact. They might catch them in the right place here. Caruana's going to lose ground coming off the corner. Ed Hope's going to go down, well, make it 3 wide down the middle, coming through towards Hawthorns now. Caruana still with the overlap, still trying, still attempting, rubbing paint, rubbing doors, coming off the corner into Westfield now with a bit more lap traffic. Sideways goes Caruana, saves it.
What a save from Caruana. I'll tell you what, Will Eatwell could be close to getting a race win here, so this is the last opportunity.
Absolutely, 4 seconds left. What's the flag across the line? It's checkered. Will Eatwell comes across the line and does the double here in the final race meeting of the season. Will Eatwell's able to do it. Carl Chase trying to fight it out with Adam Grayson to the line here. And Carl Chase, or is it Grayson? I didn't quite see coming across the line. It looks like it was Carl Chase over Adam Grayson there in terms of the AM order at the very end. My word, it's Aidan Carter though that takes the championship in the AM category in the Porsche Esports Sprint Challenge Great Britain. And oh, this all got really close really quickly between Caruana and Ed Hope, but it was Hope that was able to hold on, by the way, in that particular battle to the line. If they got an extra lap, who knows what might have happened.
Absolutely thrilling stuff to watch there at the end. Here's what happened then. So in front is Caruana. He's caught Greaveson, and Carl Chase decides, after getting the run on Greaveson, to make the move to the outside of the Clark curve. You can get on the power a little bit sooner on that outside line, and it's the drag race to the finish, and it's just Carl Chase who gets that one. What a finish for second place in AM.
That is absolutely crazy. We'll get the official gap between them in just a second, but here are the unofficial results from the Pro Order. Will Eatwell does the double here at Brands Hatch. That's absolutely incredible. 3.3 seconds over Jack Jeffries, then Ed Hope getting himself onto the podium there. Third place for him. Then Matt Caruana, P4, despite his best efforts, let's just say that. Ben Smith in P5, although, didn't you say you had a meatball flag at one point there, did Ben Smith?
Ben Cooper.
Oh, Ben Cooper. I'm mixing up my Bens. As Smith absolutely fine there in 5th place with Dave Martin in P6. Then you got Christian Struter P7, George Tyler P8, Luke Andrews P9, and Ben Cooper with the meatball flag in P10. And then in AM, it's Aiden Carter taking the race win. Of course, championship winner as well. 9.2 seconds over Carl Chase. And look at that gap between Carl Chase and Adam Graveson. Just a handful of 100s in it. Absolutely incredible stuff for 2nd and 3rd in AM. Then you've got Alistair Pollock in 4th with Mike Pierce in 5th. Cav Bud P6, Denise Pope P7, Wayne Bass and Roy Weller, Stuart Rice will round out the AM order. Well, there we go, Paul. Season, in terms of its racing, is done. We're not quite done here at the broadcast, though. However, we do need to drag a couple of drivers in for their post-race interview with the one and the only Paul Smith. But yeah, Paul, that was, heart rate rising a little bit at points.
Great stuff to watch, as always, and great stuff from this man who joins us right now in the commentary booth. Aiden Carter, AM champion in the Porsche Esports Sprint Challenge Great Britain. How does that feel?
Feels amazing. Feels absolutely amazing. Yeah, it's such a relief to get it officially home now as well after Brands. I was kind of potentially there after Alton, and yeah, to finally see it at Brands is a dream. It's been an amazing season, and I'm so happy to get it done.
It wasn't quite a perfect week for you because, of course, you did miss out on pole position, but 2 race wins here today. I mean, it pretty much seals off what has been a fantastic season for you.
Yeah, it definitely does. Yeah, I think I'm not too miffed about the pole position. I think over 1 lap, Adam was faster than me today. He had really good pace, but yeah, to get the 2 wins in the 2 races was definitely the goal, which I was able to do. Thank God. Yeah, just caps off what's been a really good season.
And how difficult has it been, especially on those lap 1s where you're having to negotiate some stragglers from the pro as well? How has it been trying to work your way through? Most of the season it's worked, apart from that one time at Alton Park, but it's been tough, hasn't it, in those opening laps?
Yeah, I'd say that's probably actually been the hardest part, I would say, is the actual race starts, because, yeah, you want to be able to push as hard as you can on the first lap to try and keep the lead in the AMs, but you can't, because if you push too hard, you end up in the back of the pros. And, yeah, I found that out in more ways than one this season. Obviously, yeah, Alton didn't go well. I had a couple of very close calls at Silverstone with some drivers, and, yeah, unfortunately didn't get away with it with Alton, and it sadly ruined what could have been a perfect season for me, but... yeah, that's probably been the hardest part, I would say, is dealing with the back of the pro class.
Well, Aiden, you've thoroughly deserved this one. You've pretty much had a perfect season. Congratulations once again on that AM Championship.
Thank you very much, guys. Yeah, and thank you for covering the season as well. It's been amazing to watch back. So yeah, thank you so much.
There we go then. That's Aiden Carter, our AM champion. I do want to next speak to our 2-time race winner this evening, Will Eatwell. I mean, Will, you tried everything that you could to get yourself into 2nd place in the championship, but 2 race wins, you must be happy with that.
Yeah, really happy to end on a double win. Two good races. As you say, not enough for P2. I think that Donington wet tire mishap really came back to bite me there, but no, two good races today.
Well, I said earlier in the broadcast, you wouldn't have heard it, but I said, if that went your way, you'd be the hero in that situation. It's just how things pan out there. But it's been an interesting season for you, of course. It's not all been sunshine and roses for you. You have had a couple of tricky rounds. Is it just been that little bit of consistency missing that you've had to try and fight through and get towards the front of the field for the second half of the season?
I think the the overall the strength of the pro field is quite a bit higher this year. So I find myself more in the battle pack a bit often. So you just got to be a bit more careful when how you drive the races when you go for your moves. I think overall I was quite consistent. I think the wet tire mishap and an interesting penalty I got at Silverstone really dropped me some points. But yeah, other than that, I'm pretty happy.
Well, congratulations still on an incredible week this week and getting yourself into the top 3 in Pro.
Yeah, thank you.
There we go. Will Eatwell joining us. We'll grab Jack Jeffries next because he finishes 2nd place in the Pro Championship. Jack, you got yourself a podium to finish off the season. 2nd place in the Championship. You must be happy with how that's gone.
What better place to finish the season than in the place that I started at the start? Yeah, Paul, it's been absolutely fantastic. I've had a wicked time seeing it through to the end. Some great moments on screen for me and Matt, and yeah, no, definitely, it's been absolutely awesome. I'd just like to take the opportunity to say thank you to all the support that I've had off the boys from Sim Races, Redgrove, Next Gen, and Altitude Esports. They've been fantastic.
It is very much a team effort. Absolutely, you make the good point there. You've only missed out on a podium twice this season. I think that just goes to show that level of consistency that you've had this season.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, one of those times I think I recall was down at Silverstone when I got a little bit sideways and span out. But yeah, staying consistent, I did what I needed to do and pushed through to the end, and here we are.
But still, 2nd place, great result for you, not only in this race, but also in the season. Go away and savour that and enjoy the driver experience.
I'm going to go and have a nice time off now, Paul. Thank you very much.
There we go. Jack Jeffries, 2nd place in the final race and 2nd place in the Pro Championship. I want to touch next on Mike Pierce. He finished 2nd place in the AM Championship and joins us now in the commentary booth. Mike, I bet you would have been biting your nails by the end of that one if you could. It was incredibly close between you and Alistair.
Yeah, it was. It was incredibly close. I was doing a lot of mental maths while coming down the straights and trying to work out, is this okay? Is this not okay? Where do I finish here? How does this work out? So I didn't want to push too hard because I'm thinking if I'm safe here, then I don't want to risk anything and end up having an incident. But at the same time, you always want to be ahead, right? So it was calculated.
I mean, you talk about calculated. We've got it on our live points, of course, pending any post-event penalties, as a single point separating you and Alistair at the end of that season. It's been incredibly close, that fight for 2nd place in AM. It's been really intense and great to watch for us.
Yeah, it really has. And I mean, Adam was in it as well. He's driven great the whole season as well. So, going into this round, I think it was 5 points difference, and then he went and set pole on quali and nicked 2 of those points back. So then it became 3 points, and unfortunately had an incident in the first race that probably didn't help, but it was getting closer and closer, and then he set fastest lap, and it all came really, really close in the end.
Well, still, 2nd place. You must be delighted with how the season has gone, apart from Aidan Carter being in a different county sometimes.
Yeah, it's been great. I've really enjoyed it. I didn't quite expect to be competing at the top. I didn't think I had the pace for this, but it's nice to do that and see where you're at. And with Aidan, we just asked him in chat just now. We were like, "Oh, what car settings are you running? We want to know. We want to know your secrets. We want to know if there's something we've missed." Now that the season's over, we ask the questions, but I think he's just quick.
He certainly is that, but still, 2nd place cannot be sniffed at all. Congratulations, Mike, on 2nd in the championship.
Thanks very much.
And then I want to grab the next driver who finished 3rd place in the AM Championship, Alistair Pollock. I mean, Alistair, my goodness, you were working hard for that one. We saw you wiping the sweat off your brow. It was intense, wasn't it, between you and Mike?
It was really intense all season long. Me and Mike are racing for the same team, so there's a little bit of give and take and a little bit of added help with each other, but at the same time we're both fighting to see who's best in the team, I guess. So it's been good fun.
And I bet after qualifying, when you saw Adam Greaves stick it on pole, you thought, uh-oh, here's a bit of a wild card coming into it.
Yeah, I was sweating quite a bit, I won't lie. I think we started tonight with Adam maybe 4 points behind me in the championship, so I knew it was going to be a case of defend against Adam tonight. When I saw what happened over qualifying, I knew it was going to be a bit of a sweaty night.
But still, top 3 though, you must be happy with how your season has gone.
Oh, massively. First time driving the Cayman. I'm not usually I'm a big fan of the GT4s, so it's kind of new to me, and it's been quite experimental in trying to get the car on pace, but it's been good fun. I've really enjoyed it.
Well, go get yourself a nice cold drink or something like that and enjoy the evening there. Congratulations, Alistair.
Thank you, Paul. Have a good evening, guys.
There we go. That's Alistair Pollock joining us. We have got a couple more drivers coming for a chat as well very quickly. Ed Hub, I'm sorry you've had to wait until now to get to speak to us, but third place in the end in that race. You really had to work at that after finishing second place in the first race. Just talk us through all that.
Oh, absolutely. Had to work incredibly hard. I mean, the last thing you want for 25 minutes is Matt Caruana behind you with colder tyres. Yeah, the beginning of that race was all over the place. I think I cooked the rears coming out of Surtees, and then I had 2-3 people overtake me, and then a couple of incidents which I haven't really looked at properly. So the stewards will have their say. And then, yeah, for the final half of the race, I just had Matt chasing me down all the way. And to be honest, I think once he passed me the first time, I thought it was over. But a couple of mistakes from him and a bit of traffic, and here we are.
Well, certainly it was fun to watch for us, that is for sure. But I mean, your season as a whole, it's been a challenging season, I think it's fair to say. But to finish off on such a positive, though, with 2 podium finishes, you must be happy with that.
Challenging is incredibly polite, Paul. It's been a complete roller coaster filled with incidents and stories. To finish with 2 podiums is quite unbelievable, if I'm completely honest. Qualified very well. I thought Matt and Will and Jack and others would be up there as well. But yeah, starting on pole for the first time was quite nerve-wracking. And then from there it was just about holding on to as much points paying positions as I could.
Well, you've certainly done a good job here today. Go away and enjoy that one, and hopefully we see you next time out.
Thanks both, and thanks for your amazing commentary as well. Cheers.
There we go. The drivers know how to keep us happy. And we'll have a quick word once again. A final word from our pro champion, Matt Caruana. Matt, you certainly it looked like you were having a bit of fun, but not what you would have wanted to have fun with to start with.
Yeah, no, I was trying to have fun, obviously, last race this season, but I made a couple of mistakes that were just a bit stupid, to be honest. Obviously, didn't really have the pressure on me, so I don't know, I was just driving, made a few mistakes, but I had a good race with Edwards, and yeah, it was a good way to end the season.
Yeah, it certainly looked an intense race. We saw there was that incident with Luke Andrews. I mean, you basically had nowhere to go in all of that, did you? You just get a wall, suddenly get a car in your face, don't you?
Yeah, no, that was pretty insane, to be honest. They were like 3 wide going into there, which is, I mean, on a blind apex makes it even worse. But they managed to get through the first bit, and then yeah, really nothing I can do, to be honest. But yeah, I managed to survive it and got a little bit of damage, but yeah, it was alright.
Well, final words on the championship as a whole. When you look at it, it's been quite the challenge, and certainly you've risen to that. What's your final thoughts on the season as a whole?
Yeah, no, obviously thank you to Porsche and RaceSpot, obviously everyone for organising it. It's been a good season, and yeah, hopefully the experience day will be good.
well, you'll certainly enjoy it. Me and Connery can guarantee you that for sure. Well done. Congratulations on the championship once again.
Thank you, appreciate it.
Busy old commentary box here, Connery, for us, but we get through them all, and certainly it's great to speak to so many chatty drivers at the end of a season.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, rather than be chatty than say very little and say single words, we haven't had. Well, I mean, none of them are Finnish, are they? So they'll give us a couple more than a few more sentences than a couple of words. Let's just say that. But I used to broadcast on a Finnish league. That was certainly interesting. But there's the unofficial points order. Of course, has to be confirmed by our race administrators, our race stewards. But Matt Caruana 216, with Jack Jeffries on 187 and Will Eatwell on 176. Those are the three drivers from the pro order which will go through and get themselves an opportunity to get them drive a real 911 on a real test track. Absolutely fantastic stuff. The AM category: Aidan Carter, Mike Pierce, Alistair Pollock. Those will be the drivers, of course, pending steward review and confirmation, that will get themselves an opportunity to drive a Cayman for real around the test track. So with the Porsche Experience Center, it's not just the test drive. Actually, that's the only part of a Porsche experience at the Experience Center. But I'm sure all the drivers that got that prize will be able to enjoy it. But it's about time that we have to wrap things up here on RaceSpotTV. It's been absolutely a fantastic season. It's been a joy and a pleasure to commentate on these drivers doing battle out there on circuit in these two different types of Porsches. But that's what we're going to have to leave it at. Who knows what might happen in 2025 with the Porsche Esports Sprint Challenge Great Britain. I hope it does come back and we get the chance to commentate on these folks once again. But from here, from Brands Hatch, from me, Connery Maddock, from him over there, Paul Smith, we'll have to say goodbye.
Try and look for the inside, but it was closed off. There was absolutely no way through there.
He's a determined driver. He'll be trying everything he possibly can.
This is where the excitement's at. This has been really intense.
This is a really spicy battle.
It's still absolutely neck and neck. Right, so swapping paint between the two of them.